So again, we're building communities, but we're not building communities like, I don't know, I'd like to say is like not like Las Vegas where it's just kind of cookie cutter. I think we still have some viable and some cool trends that are happening in Reno, Nevada to make Reno great. And it's up to us. It's up to you guys, right? To keep this thing going at Reno, Nevada, because Reno, Nevada is a great place to live and to raise your children.
I'm so excited you're here, and we're doing something really fun over here at Reviglio Real Estate, and that is bringing you direct access to the amazing people that are in our community, business owners and charitable causes and events happening right now. Welcome to Reno Right Now, where we spotlight the people shaping the biggest little city with grit, creativity, and community. I'm your host, Christian Reviglio, local realtor and former CPA, helping you build your wealth and setting you on your path to financial freedom. So if you're looking for all the up-to-date information and backstage passes, hit that subscribe link button and let's go.
Do it, baby.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to Reno Right Now, where we spotlight the people shaping the biggest little city with grit, creativity, and community. I'm your host, Christian Reviglio, local realtor and former CPA, helping you build your wealth and setting you on your path to financial freedom through real estate here in Northern Nevada. Today, I'm sitting with somebody I know and respect, somebody I've known for years, and somebody who has been an inspiration to me in my entrepreneurship journey. I'm with Mark Trujillo, the founder and owner of Hub Coffee Roasters. Mark is, he's also not just an owner of a coffee shop, but he also is a professor at TMCC and teaches a barista class where he's educating people on how to break into that type of career. And he's a guy who went from breaking Nevada's high jump record to owning a coffee farm in Colombia. Also, we share some of the same type things. Like we started our careers both at Western Nevada Supply Company and are now entrepreneurs, excuse me. So if please subscribe. If you'd love to follow my channel. And Mark, thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure. I love it. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is fantastic. Yeah. And tell us a little bit about what you do here in Reno. Tell us a little bit about why the Hub is different than other coffee shops here in Reno, Nevada.
Well, number one, we're really in the people business. As much as people say, hey, I own a coffee shop, I own a bar, I own whatever. One thing I learned when I used to work at Western Nevada Supply, which the Reviglios are amazing at community service, building a community. That's what I wanted to do. But I just didn't want to be just coffee. So how do I get that, how do I build those relationships, right? And, you think about retail, and retail is like, it's a transactional thing. It's like one transaction, boom, then you're done. And then who knows, maybe you see them every day, maybe you don't, the returning customer. But the key is, if I can do that and we build that family and that feeling of I'm creating something different than just, hey, these guys are coming in for coffee, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like, just with our employees and what we've been doing since 2009, yes, I love the science of coffee. Mm-hmm. Yes, I love to make sure that everything that we do when it comes to coffee, that we're doing the right things to make sure that for whatever those coffee nerds out there and those people that want the perfect coffee, if you will, the perfect cup of coffee, the world's best cup of coffee, it's about people. And it's how we treat it and how we treat the community and how much can we give back to the community. So if anything makes us different, I'm saying that's what makes us different.
Absolutely. And to segue on that, when you say it's all about the customer and the relationships, it's very interesting because what I found out in real estate is that it's all about the relationships. It's really not even about selling real estate. It's so much deeper than that. It's how you take care of the customer.
That's right.
And I feel like that was likely ingrained in you from a young age, but Western Nevada Supply Company
Yes.
focuses deeply on customer service, taking care of
customer
that relationship.
care, taking care of the customer.
Right.
Your uncle, your grandpa, your dad, everyone at Western Nevada Supply was about taking care of the customer. And I feel like I owe I'm indebted to Western Nevada Supply because that is exactly my mission and my vision and all the things that I've done in the last 16 years of doing coffee.
Same here.
That's what I feel is like help me continue to be successful. Now, at what point of success is, I mean, with my form of success is different than somebody else's, right? Success sometimes, whether it's riches, it's cars, it's whatever. But I feel like every day when I wake up, man, I'm just making a difference somehow, some way in somebody's life. And I learned that all from Western Nevada Supply. I'm not gonna lie. I cherish the moments that I worked there and the things that I built in my, the tools in my tool belt.
Yeah.
All came from Western Nevada Supply. So that's what makes us different. We're not just a transactional food and beverage service. I'm trying to build relationships, long-time relationships.
Give me some examples of how you build those relationships at the Hub coffee shop.
Well, if we want to talk about community, look, I think that when the community supports you, right, or supports a business like mine, how do I give back? Well, I can only give back so much to the University of Nevada, where I am an alum and I was a track and field athlete there. And, there's only so much I can give back, but here's how I give back. I have a licensed product. It's called the Morning Howl, and I roast that coffee, I package that coffee, and I give back a portion of those sales go back to athletics.
Wow.
So those are those little things that I'm doing. Also, what we do is, which is great, is it's like Western, the Boys and Girls Club, right? Everyone knows that. And everyone knows that Western helps out with Nevada athletics as well. But for me, it was like, what is that all year long kind of, when people think of the Hub and the community, I love it that they think about University of Nevada athletics, the Morning Howl, but we give back year round to the Renown Children's Hospital. And I think that's important because I always think for as much as the community has given to me, I'm indebted to give back, and I want to give back. Right. I have all of our employees. We've taken tours of the Renown Children's Hospital. And those kind of things I like to inspire our young entrepreneurs and people that work here that are getting degrees and whatever it is. But when you do stuff like that, I hope that we give a lasting impression, a great lasting impression on these kids that work for me when they know that they're working for a company that is giving back. And that's important to me. So those are some of the examples of, on a community side, right? Everyday customers that come in. I mean, you're going to see people and we know their birthdays. We know, we know their parents. We know when they're sick, we know when they haven't been in for 2 weeks and we're going, hey, what's going on?
And their order.
And we know their order, but even not the order, it's knowing them.
Yeah, that.
I can go to any other place and people remember somebody's order. But do you remember the name of their daughter? Do you remember the name of their grandfather? Do you remember their birthdays? Things like that. That's how you kind of create that. And
so you're instilling that in your people that work here.
Absolutely.
That you gotta listen, pay attention.
Yes.
What's their name, and what's the name of the family member or whatever, and just build a deeper connection with these people.
That's right. The hardest thing in retail is trying to figure out that person in 30 seconds. Doesn't matter. Maybe how they're dressed, maybe how they look, right? I mean, maybe they're sad. Can we make them feel better? Any of those things, right? So our baristas they're this is like this, I don't know if it was an experiment in cultural anthropology, I guess, would be like how can I capture this person's attention and make them understand that I'm being so transparent that I truly want you to keep buying from this company?
Right.
Sounds kind of cultish, but it's not. I mean, to me, that's taking care of the customer, just like Western Events Play. How do you take care of the customer? So many different ways.
Right.
Right. So we instill that in our employees, those kind of
Absolutely.
things. That's what keeps us going, because I can't do it all myself. You got to have the team. You got to have the right team. You got to have that team that buys in and understands what our mission and our vision is. So guess what we had this long mission statement for a while, right? Then about 3 years later, I go, it's too long. We got to break this thing down. It went from like a paragraph and a half, maybe 2 paragraphs, to we exist to bring people together. Done. Now,
That's it.
that's it. So you can
I love it.
you can take all of that and you can go, okay, well, what are the things that define that phrase? We exist to bring people together. So we all figured it out as a team. And I believe that says it all about who we are. We exist to bring people together.
And I think you guys do a fantastic job at that. And when I bring a client in to the Hub Coffee Shop, I know that they're going to be taken care of on a very high level. And just like today, we were doing multiple takes of me walking in, and the gal who's behind the counter, I'm sorry, what was
Melinda.
her? Melinda. She kept saying, "Hey, welcome to Hub Coffee Shop." It was so funny. I made her do it like 5 times, but she consistently was delivering on that customer experience, and they just take great care of you.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I hope that that's true, because I tell people, I go, hey, just go to the Hub and tell me what you think afterwards.
Right.
And 99.9% of the time, I get that text back going, your people are great. I just want to create great individuals, teach them, help them understand what hospitality is. It's not just customer service. It's not a monologue.
right.
It's a dialogue. And so, I mean, when they graduate from college, most of them work for like 4 years for me. And then when they go someplace else to do something else, if they could take one thing away from, it's not about coffee. Maybe it is. Maybe they're going to career in coffee, but it's about that one thing that they could take away.
Yeah.
It's about communicating with customers, communicating with people, right? Because most, I hate to say it, but most young kids, they have a really hard time with communication.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, everything's on the phone, texting, those kind of things. Now, a lot of people, they want to become a little bit more social.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can help them do that, to communicate, to look somebody in the eyes, to say good morning, I love that.
Well, and so Rick always says that the customer may not always be right, but we treat them like they're right.
Yeah. So what we say is just pretty similar. The customer's not always right. Just make them feel like they're right.
That's right.
That's it. That's how we do it. Right.
And you create really sticky, raving fans.
Yes. Fans. That's the key right there. Right. Because sports fans that's loyal, and maybe sometimes not loyal, but they're still loyal in some way. But if you can create fans, that's what Western Events Supply did. That's right. That's a special sauce. Right. And so why can't that be the same for a retail establishment, whether it's food and beverage or somebody owns a clothing store or whatever it is? You follow those principles right there.
Yeah.
You have a winning recipe.
These are lessons that anybody can take in life, in any business, and crush it.
That's right.
Just take care of the customer. That's it.
Just take care. That's all you got to do.
It's that simple.
That's right. Yeah.
Put a smile on your face.
That's right. Don't do it begrudgingly.
And what I love about you is you're one of the most positive people I know. You've always been like that go-getter since I was a kid. And so I think that also is a big portion of how do you take care of the customer. You remain positive, you're upbeat. That's why people want to come to the Hub.
That's right.
Because that culture is embodied in all 3 of your stores. Do you have 3 stores?
Yes, we have 3 stores, and then we have our roastery, which is, we do a lot of education and things like that, but that's where we roast all of our coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, going back to the community piece, Rick I'll make references to Rick Reviglio
Yeah, of course you are,
and Western Nevada Supply,
Yeah.
because those are my mentors, Rick Reviglio, my grandfather, that type of thing.
Mine too.
Exactly. And that's the neat part about
Yeah.
how we share those foundational type experiences.
That's right.
What Rick says is give until it hurts and then give some more.
That's right. That's right.
And so my whole life, I've always been, like I remember seeing my grandfather maybe take care of somebody who's kind of down and out, then maybe taking advantage of the situation. I asked him, why do you take care of that person? And he goes, because 99.9% of people are good. And the other, 0.1
yes.
of a percent is not going to drive the bus on how I give.
That's right.
So it's neat to see that you give back so much, and that's really important, especially in a community like this in Reno. It goes a long way. So tell me about your motivation to give more to the Renown Children's Hospital.
Well, if you think about some of the experience, well, I had one experience. My ex-in-laws, their son got brain cancer, and like most places in Reno, as we're growing, we get bigger and we have more technology and modern technology, all those things that are happening now, just like Renown Children's Hospital is doing. But obviously, it takes money to provide those kind of things.
Right.
So here's the thing: when he got sick, it's like when a lot of people get sick, not even just children, but we don't have those specialists here in Reno, Nevada. And guess where they need to go? Bay Area. They need to go to. They were going to Stanford. They were going to UC Davis, all those kind of things. And so that was what was happening with him. And I always remember that too. And, then it's a lot of money. The parents have to go. They have to stay for a week or two, right? And then that's costly. Who's helping pay for that? Is it the Care Chest or other organizations that are helping out, Children's Cabinet, those kind of things, right? And so I always thought about that. So there's some things that are important for me, is taking care of kids and the elderly.
Mm-hmm.
So two really, really important pieces just in my personal life that I would like to give back in any way I possibly can with that, right? So
that's neat.
So you have the children that are our future, and then you have the elderly that have left some kind of legacy, whatever legacy that is, whatever that means to somebody with their own grandparents or the people they know. That's how America was built. That's how this world was built, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think about those things. But the Children's Hospital thing, that really bugged me. So then all of a sudden we did an event for them, right? And then we said, oh, well, for 2 weeks we'll sell a bunch of coffees here, and then we'll say, hey, it's for the Renown Children's Hospital. Then we'll give back based off what we sold. And then that was like, say, I don't know, let's just say it was November. And then, every year, like hopefully every entrepreneur, every business owner is thinking about, how do I improve on my business skills, the things that I need to do to keep moving forward. Mm-hmm. And so then I was like, light went off, ding dong, right? I mean, why wouldn't we make Renown Children's Hospital our go-to all the time? Every time that we sell a box of coffee, we give back.
Which is fantastic. Those are fantastic.
Yes, they are. That's right. They're fantastic
you're looking for
gifts.
a gift, that's a fantastic gift.
That's right. And so we give back, and it's great because they're so appreciative. Now, how much money do we give back? It doesn't matter. It's the money that we give to them. Say they're able to buy with that money, we give back once a quarter. Mm-hmm. So maybe that money right there bought 2 laptops for kids that are sick, and they're in the hospital and that kind of thing, right? And so, I mean, no matter what we do, we're trying to give back as much as we possibly can. But I took my employees there, and that was important because it was very emotional, because you see the happiness and the things that are happening with the kids that are recovering and those kind of things. And then you go into the ICU, the NICU, right? The neonatal ICU. Man, wow. You leave there crying. Then you go back and then you're happy again. And I saw all of that within my own employees. I was like, this is our calling. Guys, what do you think? Everybody's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So, yeah, I mean, it's important to give back like that.
Story.
It's touching. But guess what? There's more that needs to be done. Obviously, we can only do so much, but at least we're giving. At least we're doing what we need to do. We're giving until it hurts, and then we give more until it hurts some more. Right?
Yeah.
That's how it has to be. And yeah, I think that getting the employees involved. These some of our employees may be 18, maybe some just graduating high school, and others getting their masters. When they see something like that and they buy in, they understand. You start understanding, because there's nothing better than having that kind of stuff in front of your face to realize how lucky we are to be healthy, how lucky if our kids did get sick, is there a spot for them in Reno, Nevada, where we don't have to take them to Stanford or something? So that was my whole thing with and his name was Tommy, where Tommy was, I was like, man, this is horrible. These parents and this kid, they have to fly him, they have to come back, they have to go stay for 2 weeks. So that was the premise and the idea, but then it just formed into something bigger.
Well, I love to hear the passion behind the give.
Yeah.
And I thought what I took away from that was you had somebody who touched your heart, or a situation that touched your heart, and you didn't figure out how to help that one person.
Yeah.
You developed a passion around it, and then you figured out how I'm going to give back to that one cause for years and years and years. And that's, I think, going back to starting a business, it's not, we were talking about this earlier, it's not this thing that it happens overnight. This is a long-term commitment.
Right.
And so that's what resonated with me with what you said, is develop a passion for something like the Renown Children's Hospital for you.
Yeah.
And figure out, how do I give back over a period of time? And people can make a world of difference. Rather than just helping one person, you could help many. Pretty neat.
It's my grandparents used to say this all the time, right? Obviously, I'm sure everybody's grandparents and those people that read the Bible and did all those things, but it really is true, no matter whether you believe, you have certain religious beliefs or whatever, but it does hold true. I'm going to say, it's the golden rule.
Right.
Like, you give and not with the intent to receive, right? It's better to give than to receive. No, it is true.
Right.
Because I used to think about that with Western. Oh my gosh, right? But that's how and why they've built themselves in this community. I truly want to be like that. And I 100%. Believe that that's what we're doing. So again, we're not just here for coffee. We're in the people business, man. This Absolutely. Is what we do.
Yeah. It's a cost of doing business, too.
That's right. That's right.
I remember that was always something at Western. It's like, yeah, there's just an amount that's allocated to giving back.
Yes.
And it's a cost of doing business.
Do you know that's also called conscious capitalism? Okay. So John Mackey, who wrote a book on this, and you know who John Mackey is?
Yes.
The original owner of Whole Foods. Well, the guy, when he started, I'll say this real quick. When he started,
or he's also the miner who started the University of Nevada. Is that
not that guy? Yeah, it's that guy. Yeah, it's a
different John Mackey.
Yeah. So
Whole Foods.
This is Whole Foods.
Okay.
So when he got out of college, Austin, Texas.
Okay.
He and his girlfriend go, "Hey, I want to save the world. Okay, I want to save the world. I want to feed the world." So they started, they got all this money together, and they got farmers together. They did the farm to plate thing, and then they opened up a store, like grocery store, right? In 3 years, because all they did was they wanted to give, they wanted to take care of the people and the homeless, and they wanted to take care of people that was in need of food. But then guess what? 3 years later, they're broke. This is huge because, and this is a good example and good advice for a lot of people, and even the people that work for certain companies, right? Is look, we have to, and this is let me go back. Here's how it went. So then they were going to shut down for good.
Oh, shoot.
Hey, this is the Italian Rick Reviglio, that kind of thing, use your hands.
Right.
Hey, I'll be good on this.
Are you sitting in a puddle?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. This is amazing. Okay. Yeah, I'm just.
We don't have any help right here.
I'm cooling off.
Okay.
We can take a little break.
No, it's good. No, let me finish this story. This is great because here's what happened. Now the community came together because they're going, hey, you've done such an amazing job for our community that now we're going to give back to you. People came back together and they, money, anything, help, whatever it is. So then they reopened the store 6 months later.
Wow.
And that's how Whole Foods was created.
I did not know that.
That's the thing about giving back. And hopefully at one point in time when you're in need and the things that you do and you help the community, they're going to give back. That was one great example. So I think about those kind of things in my own role and what I do is like, it is true. Give. What does Rick say?
Give until it hurts and then give some more.
Then give some more. I mean, this is how it goes, right? And that is a great example as far as I'm concerned, the Western Nevada Supply Way, the Whole Foods way. And now look where they're at. I mean, maybe some people don't like where they've ended up or whatever, but the true premise of Whole Foods was at the beginning was to help feed the world.
I love it.
It was amazing.
The people of Reno have to be the most generous people in the country.
I think so too.
And
we live in a great community, and a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, it's just freaking amazing, right?
Well, I think a testament to the amount that is actually given is you look at the Shapino feed.
Oh yeah, I know.
Boys and Girls Club.
I know.
$1.75 million in one night.
Yeah.
And so to be in
I almost paid like what was it, like $8,000 bidding on a golden retriever. Yeah. We didn't get it, thank God. Just kidding.
Thank God.
Yeah, that was my wife.
Couple drinks.
That was my wife, right? But anyways, no, that is, you're right. That Chipino feed is amazing.
I mean, it's a testament to the city.
Yes.
Should we get are we good?
Yeah, we're good. I don't mind sitting in coffee. It's
okay.
all good, man.
Are you sitting in coffee?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
The show must go on.
Yeah, I think it's just a testament to the culture of Reno, and that drives me in my business to figure out how do I give back in big ways.
Right.
So I'm supporting Big Brothers Big Sisters, Reno Rodeo, that type of thing, and it's just, it makes you feel good to give back.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes. Because if you're going to be part of the community, you have to be the community.
Right.
It's just like there's no other way.
Right.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about you have a high jumping record. Tell us about your early life and kind of what shaped you as an individual to do what you do today and to have the grit and tenacity to push forward in this business, where I know that there's ups and downs in the business.
There's ups and downs in athletics. We'd like to play our best game all of the time. We would love, it's like, I always use the analogy of Barry Bonds, right? It's like, okay, great, you can hit a bunch of home runs, but you strike out 6 times and then you hit a grand slam. That's amazing because you won the game, right? But I like to look at it as like, I'd like to get hit a double or a triple and get on base all the time, right? And so the consistency is amazing like that, right? So here's the things that I learned as a young kid. I mean, I was 13 years old. I realized, I lived up in the North Valleys. I went to Stead Elementary, O'Brien Middle School, right? There was not a lot to do up there, but I did find that I had this like super competitive like edge. And I mean, I just, in every sport that I did, I wanted to be the best. But then I would figure out and I would do crazy things and train on my own. I'm 13 years old. I'm 11. I'm reading books on how to jump over fences and increase my vertical jump and those kind of things, right? And it was, and I remember the first time I ran cross country in 7th grade, I just went out there to run cross country because I wanted to work on my legs. It had nothing to do with anything else. And then I started kicking butt, and then I started winning ribbons, and I was like, oh shoot, I can win ribbons, right? Then it just kept going, right? But then I think as time progressed, I think I felt like athletics was a way for me to like give myself, give who I was and my competitive attributes to a team, to a school, right? I want to win for my school too, right? That kind of thing. And so, I mean, out of the blue, I don't know, I can't tell you this, but how it happened, what it was, but some kind of natural ability happened, and I broke the county record in 8th grade. I jumped 6 feet 4 inches. Next thing I know, I was USA Today, and
USA Today.
yeah, the Sports Illustrated, faces in the crowd, and
Sports Illustrated.
Yeah. And they showed this stuff. I'm 13 years old. I'm like, my fro was like off to the side over here, and I got a picture in the
we got to
faces
show
of the crowd, man.
everybody the photo.
Oh yeah,
some of these photos.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it was really cool. I didn't know what I did. I just know I wanted to jump as high as I could possibly jump, right? And so, anyway, long story short, that 8th grade, or that when I was 13 years old, that still stands as a national record for 13-year-olds.
A national record.
No, it's kind of weird.
For 13-year-olds.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, and so.
And how many other people at 13 were doing high jumping? Is there quite a few?
Not really. Not really. But most people wanted to high jump because you know why?
Dave, this is when was the record?
It was 1980. 1980. It's still never been broken. It's kind of crazy.
45 years.
My friends, my track friends, my old track friends, they'll send me things because they're always keeping up on track, and they'll send me like, hey, did you know you're still in this? Oh, did you know this? Blah, blah, blah. And like, those kind of things, right?
Yeah.
And then through high school, I ended up jumping 7 feet half inch here and at Hug High School, and then that was a Northern AAA record. That hasn't been broken since 1984. No, and so that's kind of cool too, right? So then I ended up going to Nevada, and I high jumped there, and I broke that record. It was a 20-year-old high jump record. So I jumped 7.3.5 there, and I would like to
3 records. Do you still hold?
Yeah.
That's insane.
But I would like to say it's super legitimate with the Nevada record. But the point is it's kind of weird because they haven't had a men's program since 1992. I think it is, right? So I can't have too much of a claim to fame on that yet, right? But it would be nice if they could have a men's track program. And they do have a great women's program, but their track program for the men's it hasn't existed since 1992. But at the same time, hey, I still hold the record. What the hell?
I love it. So for our listeners that are parents, and I'm asking this for myself.
Yeah.
We constantly have like a lot of different sports that we want our kids to be involved in. And I sometimes think of, say, Andre Agassi and how his dad like made him do that one sport.
That's
and then he became,
it's like Tiger Woods,
renowned player,
right?
Or Tiger Woods, or the Williams sisters. And basically their parents forced them to play a certain sport. What drove you, or what would you say to those parents that would like to point their kids in the right direction? And did your parents play a role in you getting to where you got with high jumping?
Well, and this is great because I obviously later on I had my own kids, right? And you get them involved in all the sports. And you want them to be great at the sport that you love, right? That kind of, doesn't matter whether it's basketball, baseball, it doesn't matter, track, whatever it is. There's this that's a form of patience, right? Because you want your kids you give them all the opportunity to see what sport they like, but some may not even figure it out to maybe their junior year in high school, right? Okay. I mean, that's hard. I don't know. For me, look, my grandparents, they made sure that I had a roof over my head, and they didn't have the money or those kind of things to go or push me to be a certain athlete. They just let me do what I did. So I was very lucky. Right? And I still, as a high jumper, I still played basketball. I wanted to play basketball. I loved basketball because that was like a form of jumping all the time, right? Who am I going to dunk the basketball over whose head, right? That kind of thing. Come on my way, I'm going to dunk over you, kind of thing, right? And especially for how tall I was. I was only 5'10", so people would go, "Hey, there's no way this guy's going to dunk over me." Oh yeah, I'm going to dunk over you. Right? But anyway, I also ran cross country too, so it was kind of weird because I got second in the nation in cross country at Junior Olympics the same year that I won Junior Olympic national high jump.
Wow.
So I was lucky to experience a lot of those things. And so I wasn't just the one sport wonder, but eventually, just like hopefully your kids or anybody else's kids and parents think about this, is like, you got to let your child decide. And then once they decide, and once you know that they've taken on to something, now you go all out.
So like at a young age, you would say, immerse them in as many things as possible, perhaps.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But don't necessarily force a specific sport and let it kind of evolve like a business.
That's right.
Or like anything.
Like anything, right? And that's the thing about athletics that has really helped me get through a lot of things, right? Like you said, and we talked about playing your best game all of the time. We have ups and downs. You can't be at your best game all of the time. Like we were talking about with Barry Bonds, right? It's like, yeah, let's get on base. Let's bat 900 instead of 250 and 80 home runs kind of thing, right? And kind of like a Pete Rose scenario, right? I'd like get on base, right?
Just get on base,
right? Because you have more chances of hopefully getting home and scoring. But the thing is about athletics is like, for me, it was like when you talk about grit, you talk about it teaches discipline, because if you have that discipline, you're going to have that discipline the rest of your life. Because if you have the discipline to be the best that you possibly can be, you will always be thinking, how do I improve? How do I change things? How do I change my habits to make them better? It's the same thing in business right here, right? It's like all of those things is we're always evolving, and we need to understand, how do I get more sales? How do I bring in more people? Those kind of things.
Right.
It's a competition for me, right?
I love how you said get on base. The thing that I struggle with right now in my business is I have a high standard. And so I'm like, gosh, that email should have this, that, and the other in it. And it doesn't quite have that. And I'm frustrated, and I'm like, gosh, I should be doing this better. And it's like, but I'm getting on base. And that's what I need to tell myself is I'm getting on base, and we will get better over time in this business.
Great business people, and these people that understand a certain form of perfection, and I've heard this many times with a lot of investors, is perfection is the enemy of profits. Doesn't say you shouldn't. Now that's totally different than taking care of the customer. But perfection is the enemy of profits, because if we analyze it to death,
right?
And it's like paralysis analysis, or analysis paralysis. That's what Rick used to say, that analysis paralysis, stud, come on, right? No, I think the same way. It's like sometimes you just got to do it, and you got to you're going to figure it out through your mistakes. It's the same thing. We even talk from business to how we raise our kids and all those things.
Right.
A lot of it is a lot of luck.
Yeah.
But you have to have that drive, determination, and you have to have the willingness to adapt nowadays. Like, look, I'm the old man in the coffee group in all of Reno right now. I, by far, am 20 to 25 years older than most owners of any coffee shop in Reno, Nevada. Okay?
And you're still hustling.
You got to hustle, man.
Going strong.
They can't hang with this.
One bit.
They can't hang with this. Sometimes, like, bring it on, baby.
Yeah.
They can't.
One quote that I love is Grant Cardone in 10X book. Have you read it?
Yeah. Yes.
And he says, commit and figure it out later.
That's right. No, that's how you do it.
And so I feel like that embodies kind of that thing that, so many people get stuck in this analysis paralysis thing.
Yes.
And it's just like,
but you have to commit and then figure it out later.
Commit and then figure it out later.
That's right.
And that's going in most times when we're selling a house or something like that. And we got to sell this house to get to that place. It's like, just list the house and we'll figure out the rest later. Right. And the universe will call whatever you need. That answer will come to you.
It's all those things in life, from the business to the kids to everything, right? Is like, sometimes we're, how do we learn? Making mistakes.
Absolutely.
We all know that. But the thing is
you can't learn without a
we
mistake.
Try to make it too complicated. That's the thing. And then now, that's the great thing about people being able to write books, right? You can read 20 books. They're kind of saying the same thing. They just say it in a different way.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
And so it's what you take out of those books that you read.
Yeah.
And then how do you apply those to your life, right? But to me, you keep it basic, keep it simple. It's like in basketball, man. Chest pass. right? You don't have to do around, behind your back pass or anything like that. Chest pass, know how to shoot a free throw, layup. Oh, of course, if you can dunk, you dunk it, right? That's a high percentage shot. But seriously, perfection is the enemy of profits. And I listen to in my head all the time, because sometimes it's like what you said is like that quote is absolutely correct. You just have to go for it. Figure it out later.
I love it. So from basketball to cross country to high jump led you into what I know you for is bodybuilding. And when I was 10 years old, you came to Elko, Nevada, where my dad was running the store, Western Nevada Supply Company in Elko. And you moved in with us, and that's how I really got to know you on a very deep level. And at the time, you were bodybuilding. Tell us how you kind of transitioned in from high jump into bodybuilding.
Sounds crazy, doesn't it? I mean, Randy McReynolds, you know Randy?
Yes.
He came to my 50th birthday party, and my wife had like all the things I've done in my life. He goes, "Hey, I've never known anybody to be able to transition their body type in different ways like you have." And I thought about that, and I go, man, he's kind of right. I don't know. It's like you set your mind to do something, right? And I was like, I'm infatuated with the body, kinesiology, those kind of things, right? Like, how can you morph? How can you change? And I just got into it. It was weird, and I'm not sure I wanted to. It was very bodybuilding is very narcissistic, right? It's like because you don't drink beer, you don't do anything, like you're always worried about your body.
No alcohol.
Yeah, no alcohol, things like that. And you're always eating. You got to have your macronutrients. You have to have all the things that that need to happen in order for you to maintain and or to grow in muscle growth. Mm-hmm. And so it was a lot of work, man. But I'll tell you, it was one of those things. Just like in everything, you get to a certain point, you go, yeah. I did this. I competed in Nevada State Bodybuilding Championships. I did these kind of things, right? Then I go, yeah, this isn't me. And then I got into bike racing. Then for the next 20 years, here I am.
And now you do that.
Yeah, I don't do it anymore. But the last time I raced my bike was like, 2014 or something like that, But
But you're still an avid biker.
Oh, yeah. I mean, biking is a part of my life. Always will be a part of my life. That's talking about children. I mean, Joey, I wanted him to be a high jumper. I wanted him to break my record, right? But that wasn't his jam. That wasn't what he. It wasn't his jam. No.
And you kind of not pushed him, but you introduced him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I think it was a. I think there was a lot of pressure. Yeah. We'd see friends and like, hey, he's 6'3", right? And I'm 5'10". And they're like, oh man, if you have hops like your dad, you're going to be great, And I think a little pressure, like, I don't want to hold up to that, So,
right.
But he got into racing his bike, and and without me, he saw me, we would go to races, those kind of things. The next thing I know, he's racing his bike. So he became a really, really great cyclist. And at the same time, cycling is like that, that one sport that's kind of like for longevity, you can always do it. And you can always stay in shape. And as I'm watching people go by right now on their bikes. And so my son, and that's how we started the Hub Coffee Roasters, because that's the hub of the wheel. So we wanted to create something that was bikes and coffee.
I love it.
So that's how in 2009, out of all this conversation that we've been talking about business and all those kind of things, that's how we started the Hub Coffee Roasters. It was about bikes and coffee. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I started that with my son.
But bodybuilding drove you kind of it positioned you to the early ideas of what a coffee shop should be, right? It based on the sugary drinks and things like that.
Because it's always about health, right? I wanted something basic, but I wanted something different. I wanted to show that you didn't have to have a cappuccino that was a 20-ounce cappuccino with a bunch of milk, but it is a 6-ounce or a 5.5-ounce cappuccino with well-structured milk that is velvety and creamy and all those kind of things. And the sweetness comes from the coffee and the milk, but you got to have the right milk too. right? That kind of thing. And so, no, I didn't want flavors. I wanted things to be more organic. So you're right. The bodybuilding, like one thing it taught me, just like in track and just like in racing your bike as well, nutrition is very, very important. But yeah, I didn't want all this stuff. You don't see a lot of those things. Now, we've adapted, right? We do carry syrups, but everything we do, we carry organic. And if we're gonna move into that realm of let's just say a Starbucks mode of kind of coffee, or what if you will, at least we know what we're providing. We feel where it's transparent enough to us and to our employees to know that we're still serving a better product, or we feel good about the product that we're serving. That's the thing. For sure. That's the thing. I have to feel that way. I don't want to serve something that I don't feel is healthy. Right. So that's where that bodybuilding thing, it really taught me a lot in that respect.
Yeah, and to be conscientious about the sugar content in these drinks and that type of thing. And I think from prior conversations that you at Western Nevada Supply were set on a mission, basically, to find the best cup of coffee for the customer. And so that's kind of what spurred this whole thing, right?
Oh yeah, it was nice. I mean, we did a lot of great things, and our vendors rewarded us. Western, we Rayhow tubing, in-floor heating, snow melt, boilers, things like that. Man, I would go back east. They would send us to Europe because we did a great job. All those kind of things, right? And so then that's when I fell in love with that cafe culture, and how they treated the customers, even though it was fast and it was great, but it was something about the cafe culture, the culture of this. And same thing that the owner of Starbucks, and how he was like enthralled and loved that cafe culture, the sound of the espresso machine, the smell of the coffee, the hustle and bustle, people in and out, and those kind of things. And yeah, that excited me. Right. And I wanted that kind of farm to plate, but we call it seed to cup. Right. Because that's what that coffee, the bean is not a bean, it's a seed within the cherry. And that's where that coffee bean comes from. It looks like a bean after you roast it, correct? I mean, that's just how it goes. And you see that everywhere, right? And that's what it is. And but it comes from a coffee cherry, and they're two seeds, right? One seed, but it's split apart. And so it's two halves. And it's pretty amazing. So that led me into, like, in 2020, where I've had this relationship with, and this is a long conversation, but since 2014, I knew this one particular producer in Colombia, Rodrigo Sanchez, and because I speak Spanish, and my son and I went on a trip to see coffee farms and those kind of things. We went to Colombia. Well, we built a great relationship with him, so I bought coffee from him for like 7 years. And next thing you know, I ended up befriending a really young, inspiring, like go-get-em entrepreneur named Vicente Izaza Mejia. And anyways, he's from Medellin, Colombia. And anyway, so I introduced him to Rodrigo, and it was perfect timing, and all the stars aligned. And then we ended up finding a farm that we could buy together. And so we bought a farm together. It was about a 60-acre farm, produces about 9 containers a year. And so we bought the land, we bought the farm, we bought everything from a gentleman from Spain who realized that.
And you paid cash for it, or how did you acquire the land? No,
we took out loans in Colombia, and I put my money down as well, right? Wow. And so we paid off $420,000 in 2 years. So we own it outright.
Seriously.
So then, like all real estate and those kind of things that you talk about, we took the money and all the profits and things that we do at our Finca Las Nubes that is paid off. Then we invested and got a bigger farm and planted 30,000 plants. Wow. So then we used even more money from the profits from the first farm. And then we bought another farm. Wow. Which is a completely regenerative and certified organic farm. So diversifying is good in all forms. Now, I wouldn't be able to do this because without the two guys that live in Colombia, because one's the producer. I do know how to manage and see things, but I'm not a botanist. I'm not the guy that understands how plant growth should happen and how big, how far apart we should plant these plants and those kind of things. I don't know that, but I know quite a bit now in the last 5 years of doing this. That's why, going back to what we talked about, seed to cup, super important to me, because that is one big thing that makes us different from all the other coffee places here, is I am boots on the ground and understand from the seed, the planting, the processing, all those things that go into now what I do here.
Right.
And that is that seed to cup mentality. So yeah, it's kind of full circle. I got to say, I've been super lucky in my life that all these things have kind of come together, but it's not all luck. Like we talked about earlier, is like being in the right place at the right time is great, but how hard you're going to work for it, how patient you're going to be. Are you going to be tenacious at everything that you do, are not competitive, right? It's competitive.
And when you say everything that you do, you could see it when you come into the hub and you've got a chart on the wall that shows exactly, how the cup should taste.
Oh, it's funny. I can't believe it. I'm so glad that you saw that.
If it's bitter or whatever, then that's not the cup you're looking for.
That's right.
Is that right?
No, that was great. Yeah.
And then there's lots of different flavors. It's like it's like a wine.
Yeah.
Right?
You saw the flavor wheel up there, right? Yeah. Cool thing about coffee is there are 1,000 more scents and flavors to coffee than wine, but there are 1,000 more varietals to wine.
Wow.
And we have learned that a vintner for wine and how they make wine, we have taken a lot of those practices that people that make wine, we've taken a lot of those practices and kind of introduced those into making coffee.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been an amazing experience. That's the inspiration for me is like, again, change, but adapting to change, but not changing our culture. Right. But understanding the things that are coming in the future, and even for this old guy, is like to continually know that I have to adapt. And I ask my children every once in a while, you think I'm adapting pretty well to everything that's happening in society? Well, yeah, I think I'm like, okay, come on, give me a break, man. But that's what it's like in business nowadays. If you don't adapt, if you don't do the things that are necessary to keep your business thriving and keep things going, you're going to be left behind.
How do people try different flavors, and how? I guess
so. Talk
on that, because when I go to the grocery store, I might maybe like how I pick wine.
Yes,
is whatever catches my eye.
Yes,
and probably the biggest bag. I just get the biggest bag and throw it in.
So that is exactly true. So that goes back to, I've been doing this TMCC class since 2016. And so now we have a coffee 101 class, we have a coffee 201 class, and we have a coffee 301. So it's kind of like a prerequisite, 101 to 201 to 301, just like all classes, right? And here's what we teach. We teach the biology, the plant biology, and the processing methods and the things that make coffee and what they are, from planting all the way to processing to roasting. That's the very first class. So you get to kind of understand a little bit more about the plant, the coffee, right? And then when you learn all of those things, now you go to 201. Now 201 is about, all right, so when I go to the grocery store, am I looking for a natural processed coffee? Do I like a natural processed coffee? Am I looking for a roaster that is being transparent and showing on the bag that, hey, you can look up online and see, what farmer they're working with and those kind of things, right? Because we can buy coffee everywhere. It's a commodity product. It's global. It's a globally priced and commodity product. And, you can get what you think is great coffee, could be very bad coffee, moldy, mycotoxins, those kind of things. We can get to the whole science of it. But on an overall, there's certain cues and certain things that you learn in my class too that get you to choose the right coffee. Like, for instance, if you came to our cafe and you said, so what kind of espresso, what is the coffee that you're serving as espresso? They're not going to go, oh, it's an espresso. It's an espresso blend. No, they're going to go, well, right now we're using 60% of a coffee from Nicaragua, right? And it's a wash processed coffee. And then we're using 40% of a natural Ethiopian to bring out a little bit more fruitiness, right? So when you have that in your cup and you have it with milk in a cappuccino or anything else, and just like even what you had here in your iced latte and the one that I just spilled all over me, is you notice a difference. But then now it even goes even deeper depending on roast profile and all those other kind of things, right? So here's the thing. It's a lot of science, but almost like our business is like if you could get really trapped in the minutia and the science of coffee, but you just got to get into it and then figure it out later.
Right.
That's kind of what I did.
It's got to be somewhat similar to how people become or get into wines and that type of thing.
So when you drink wine, what do? You drink a lot of it to understand it, right? So you got to drink all kinds of coffee and all kinds of processing methods and all kinds of roasters, all different kinds of roasters throughout the United States to understand like what coffee do I like. And maybe some you'll find, you know what I love? Sometimes it's like, I'm going to say it's 10 years later sometimes. 10 years later, somebody will go, I love the 32 Cheney. It never changes. And I say, I laugh to myself because, no, it changes based off of the freshness of the coffee. It probably changes every 6 months. But what I do is when I roast it and I'm finding similar profiles, it's like putting a profile together for wine, is like, these are the things that I'm shooting for. I'm shooting for, chocolate and peaches and a little caramel, right? I can manipulate that based off of roasting. So that's the funny thing is like, I go, oh yeah, it never changes.
You can manipulate it from how you roast it.
Yeah. And knowing what processes are happening to the coffees that you're roasting. That's
and
the
you
thing.
Roast all your coffee beans on Cheney Street.
Nope. On Vassar.
Sorry.
On Vassar. Yes, on Vassar. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
So yeah, we have a fairly big operation over there, and it's kind of like me having bikes. I have I have multiple roasters. I have 4 roasters in there, right? And they're all different in their own way, and they roast coffee differently. And I love that because then I can teach people the differences between all of these roasters. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to touch on that I often coach my clients on is you got to grow your active income before you invest in the passive asset. I mean, a lot of people, they buy a single family home and they're just getting going in their career. That's your typical first time home buyer.
Yeah.
But I often have that conversation to expand their mind and say, but like one client, oh geez, here we go. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome. Hey, I wasn't the only one.
Right. One client that that I've been working with is a fantastic landscaper. And he said, hey, I live in this house. I want to sell it and then buy another bigger house. And he was at Western for like 20 years. And I go,
is it Tony?
No, it's not. And I probably shouldn't say, but
no.
So anyways,
you don't have to.
He was, 20 years at Western, and I said, hey, look, we can sell your house tax-free and you could rent a bigger house and you're going to take the equity from that and you're going to start a business, a landscaping business. And with that landscaping business, you're going to make so much money that in 4 years, 3 years, whatever,
just pay cash for your house.
We're going to go and buy your house in Collin.
Yeah, right.
So what kind of resonated with me with what you said about the Colombian farms was you created an active business.
Yeah.
That was generating good money. And then you incorporated the passive investments into that.
Yes.
And so I guess I thought that was neat.
No, yeah, that's exactly it, right?
Touch on that.
Yeah, because people, that's the entrepreneurial part is sometimes just like the conscious capitalism scenario is the money that you do make. What are you doing with it, right? And that's the hard part for a lot of first time entrepreneurs, right? They get trapped in this and like, oh, well, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to buy that. And I'm like, well, how's that helping in the long run, right? I got to say, the first, I'd say 7 years of my business, if I didn't have the money, I didn't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to make the money first, then do it? And then, now finally after 16, 17 years, now I build bigger stores,
mm-hmm.
and I finally have taken loans out to do that. But I own all my equipment, all my stuff, everything that I do, own the roastery building, right? Mm-hmm. And yes, I wish I could own every retail spot, but that's, maybe I could if I wanted to really search out. But I mean, mm-hmm. again, like we talked, it's like get on base first, then we'll figure it out.
For sure.
Don't analyze it to death.
And then once you grew your active income, then you're more able to take out that loan because you have more income to support the debt payment.
And then you have history. Yeah. Right. Then you have this history, and then hopefully if you're keeping everything else, your credit score and all the other good stuff, right? That's how it works. Right. Sure. And I totally believe in that. But then now I'm at that point where as a business owner, and like we all know, this is like, you got to save for a rainy day, mm-hmm. right? There's got to be something back there. You're working on cash flow. You got to have you got to have cash flow. I mean, entrepreneurs nowadays are, a 30-day cash flow is not, you need to be better than that. Right. Sure. And some of us are fortunate and not fortunate, and it's just how it is. Right. I mean, I'm not going to dog anybody for that happening. Mm-hmm. But for myself, I'm doing my best to say, hey, I would like to have 6 months of cash flow
6 months.
In case something happened.
For sure.
Right. What if something happens? Right? It's the same with your own personal life. Sure. How are you handling your personal life? And a lot of these things that I teach our kids and our employees that work for me is like this business is much like your personal bank account.
For sure.
Right? Got to give them scenarios about that just so they can understand, we just don't have a money tree growing in the back, right?
No.
It just doesn't, we just don't go pull money in the back or have this vault. Mm-hmm. I remember, I think your Uncle Tom used to say that all the time. He said, well, you think we got a vault in the back? We just pull the money out? Doesn't happen that way, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think entrepreneurs nowadays is like that patience. Like you said, grit, the determination, but man, you got to be
patience. You got to have that incorporated.
That's right. You got to be you have to be competitive. Mm-hmm. You have to be competitive. And what we talked about before we got on air was like those 3 C's. I think that is super, super important because
tell us about the 3 C's.
Well, the 3 C's is like you have a concept, right? And the concept could be I'm going to open a coffee place, or I'm going to be a realtor, or I'm going to open a gym. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, you have the concept. That's great. But now you have to, the second C is like, now you have to be your biggest critic, because when you're your biggest critic, you're not settling. You're not just settling for good enough. You're mm-hmm. understanding that you're criticizing everything that you do so you can be better. Now, once you have that down, then what do? We're the crusader of our own, of what we've created.
For sure. Because
we believe in it. That's the key. And so, man, I think about those. It's crazy. I'm sure you do the same thing, and I know how the Reviglios are. They don't sleep thinking about stuff while they're, at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Those kind of things. I do the same thing because I don't like to settle.
No,
I can't settle. And again, like I said, I've been fortunate. Not everybody's as fortunate to do and do the things I've done in my life and those kind of things, but you got to have certain practices in your life if you want to succeed later on.
Absolutely.
And you have to continue to keep working on those because they just don't, it doesn't get easier. We need to make it gets harder. We just need to figure out how to make hard better.
For sure.
Right.
Another thing that I was thinking was, I consistently talk to people about buying a business. I mean, buying a business is probably easier than buying real estate. It's something that you could buy with seller financing. You could put down
a lot of people carry
nothing.
Yeah,
and you could step into the shoes of the owner. Tell our listeners a little bit about how you first got into coffee business, because it wasn't just, hey, I'm starting a coffee shop. you bought a business and stepped into the shoes of the owner. So here we go again.
It's really kind of funny you talked about this, because this kind of goes with everything. I bought Walden's Coffee House in 2007. So guess what? I bought something, and it was coffee. It said coffee in the the main thing was Coffee House, right? But really what I bought into was a business that already had a certain culture. And that culture was not to excel or have a higher level of coffee worth, right? It was, at that time, just a fun place. Go get a breakfast burrito, get pastries, that kind of stuff. But I don't care what the coffee tastes like. I'm going to put cream and sugar in it either way. That's what I bought into. And what I learned from that is, no, I bought into a culture. I was trying to figure out how to change a culture to me, has probably been the hardest thing I've ever tried to do. Because guess what? The analysis paralysis, and I did that exact thing, was just jump in and figure it out later. Well, here's how my take on this was, yeah, I figured it out later. I figured out that's not what I wanted to do. Right? So for the first 2 years, I'm just like, I'm hustling. Like, I changed the coffee program. I do all that. My son's helping me. My daughter's helping me. And then people are like, yeah, no, I think I want my Hershey syrup out of a can, and I don't want you to raise the prices. I think I want that. No, I wanted to level up the coffee experience. But that particular crowd, because that's what they were used to. That was the culture.
And there was no changing the culture.
There was no change in the culture. So that's what I'm saying, is when you have a culture and you build that culture, stick to that culture, modify certain things, enhance it, but hopefully your culture is strong enough that you don't have to change it. Mm-hmm. So look, I started the hub 2 years into, and it wasn't really competing with Walden's. We started the hub on 32 Cheney Street, and it was in a spot where.
And you left Walden's at that time?
No, I didn't. Yes, I still had Walden's. Right. I didn't sell Walden's till 2010. So a year later, after I started the hub. So it was I guess the learning experience from this is, again, it is really hard to change a culture once it's been established, because that Walden's had been established there for 12 years. The original Walden's owned it, right? The Walden's family. Then they sold it to the Wilsons. Then they sold it to us. And then I sold it to a lady, Melissa. And now the current owners have done a really great job with the Walden's. They have. It's very food focused at the beginning, and then you get your coffee. I wanted the opposite.
Okay.
I want to do coffee first, and then maybe you get a little experience of food.
And then that stems from your experiences in Europe and what called you into this profession in the first place.
Yes, that's exactly it. I think that, like I said, it was the feel of the cafe. It was how people were. And when we talked about our mission being we exist to bring people together, I feel like the cafe, people on their first dates, right? I've had people have been married. People were married. I've had 2 weddings here, right?
Two weddings here?
At Riverside here, at our Riverside location. I've had 2 weddings.
Smaller weddings, or
just smaller weddings.
And you still do that, or
I'll do anybody that wants to do a wedding here. Here's the thing. It's like, that's what I'm saying, is that we exist to bring a lot of people together. We bring people together. It's amazing.
Well, you were having like a rock concert here last week.
Yeah, so I have a DJ thing, right? So I work with this Desert Beats, and we call it Coffee and Beats, and so we do it at the last Sunday of every month. But we decided to do it outside, and we decided to do it on the weekend of UNR graduation, because a lot of people bring their parents, and then they take them to their favorite coffee place, and so it was success.
That's awesome.
So I think that's that key about again being different, is like, but the coffee thing really resonated with me, because it's intimate, but then at the same time it could be super exciting. And the cyclists show up, and their ride is, and they come and get coffee before their ride in the morning, or then halfway in between their ride they stop off and get an espresso, and then they go back and do the rest of their ride. People on their first dates, they come. People have been asked, like they've been proposed to at coffee places, right? So, I mean,
You've seen it happen here.
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I could
People
tell you,
love their coffee.
I know, and
Their coffee places.
but exactly what we were just talking about. It is the ambiance, the feeling, the culture, whatever it is that attracts them to to their favorite coffee place, right? I mean, the hub doesn't have to be your favorite coffee place,
Right.
but something about coffee does that. And if, it's like Cheers, right? Like you have certain people that they know their Cheers place at night, right? And they go have a beer every night, and Norm and whoever, they do their thing, and, and coffee's the same way. It's just in the morning. It's not in the night,
Wow.
or not in the evening. So yeah, that the attraction of that, but then also bringing a higher level of coffee is what really got me into this thing. I got to tell you, I looked into at one time, you can only do it as a licensing deal, but with Dale Marlowe at Western Nevada, I said, "Hey, stud, we should get into, we should find out about this Starbucks thing and see if we can own one, right?" We looked into it, like, yeah, I can't do that. It's not, you can't franchise it. There's certain licensing requirements and those kind of things you could do, but that's not what I wanted to do. So that's how I ended up. Yeah, Walden's Coffee House. It has the word coffee in it. I'm going to buy it. I did. And I learned a lot as a business person on the things not to do.
And what's the number one thing that for somebody that's looking to buy a business, you would give your bit of advice to those folks?
Well, I think it comes along culture too. Is like, first of all, you're passionate about the product that you're doing. Your Uncle Rick said to me, he said, "Stud, don't do it." That's what he said. Don't do it. Don't get in the food business. I said, "Rick, I'm getting into the coffee business." Right. So he and I went back and forth, but he did sell me. And I always carry this with me. Work on your business and who you are, your culture, how you build it, what you do, then the money will come. You gotta be passionate about your product. You gotta be passionate about what you're doing. Right. And so if you're going to buy a coffee business or any business, you better be passionate about it, because those people aren't passionate. Is it an investment? Then just be an angel investor and just invest, put some money in there if you want, right? But if you're going to be that face, or you're going to be that person that is out there working your business, you better be passionate about it, because you're not going to get rich right away. You may not even make any money for the first 4 or 5 years.
For sure.
Right? But the thing is, like, that's that thing about when you're going to buy a business. Know what the hell you're buying. Understand what you're buying. Be passionate about what you think you want to do. Now you better do your homework. Now you better do your training to understand, why is it that's my passion too. It's not just because, it's my passion. Well, why is it? Right? It's like getting into wine, right? Like, I'm going to go buy my own, here I am, I'm going to go buy my own vineyard, and then you're stuck and you're going, oh crap, why was I passionate about this? I'm passionate about drinking wine, but maybe I'm not so passionate about owning a vineyard, because I have no idea what I'm doing. And there's no reason why people can't learn. That's what I did. Now look where I'm at. I went from bikes and coffee and learning about coffee from Walden's Coffee House to whatever, and now understanding from seed to cup what really happens and what we do with coffee and how it gets to the end user.
How do you think people find their passion, or before they get into a business or something?
Sometimes I think people just stumble on it, right? Because if it's something that makes them happy, something that gives them the energy to, when they get up in the morning, to go, man, this is another great day. I'm going to kill it, right?
Right.
Like, I'm going to change something. I'm going to change a perception,
right?
I'm going to change something every day. And if they feel that, like I do every time, like sometimes, it's like periodizations, right? Like we say, we can't be always up at the top, and there's peaks and valleys as an entrepreneur. But I think what happens is we have to figure out when we're on top. Man, you better give it your all. You better do it, because you have one chance in that point in time, right? So that's what you got to work.
Like Eminem.
That's right.
One chance,
do
baby.
Not miss that's right.
Chance
that's right. And then when you do that, that's when you work it. You work it hard, right? And then the other part is understand exactly who it is that can mentor or help you get through some of those things. Because then when I say things, from accounting to bookkeeping services, to your attorney, to all of those things, people used to tell me that. I'm like, it's no big deal. I know what I'm doing, right? I know how to read a P&L. right? Yeah, profit and loss, right? Why do I have so much loss? How do I make profit? Now you dig into the community, you dig into people that have, and you network with people that hopefully can help you. And that's what we talk about Reno, Nevada. Reno, Nevada is great for that. You know how many times when I first started this, I was like, Rick, we got to go to lunch, right? Give him some scenarios. He helps you, right? So, I mean, I'm hoping that there are a lot more of those kind of people out there for other entrepreneurs, right? But I'm always willing to help.
Right.
There's only so much information I can give too, but I always look at them and I go, well, you should take my class over at TMCC and we'll take, coffee 101, 201, and 301. And I just check out with them. But anyways.
Well, and in my industry as a realtor, I don't even know how many agents are out there. 2,000 agents,
Yeah.
And I guess when I got into the business, I was like, how do I
differentiate yourself?
Yeah. How do I differentiate myself? And, there's people have a lot of options. So why would they choose me? And it comes down to the passion of why they want to work with me. And I had a deep passion for real estate since I was young.
Yeah.
About how do you own the Monopoly board? How do you own pieces of real estate?
And rich dad, poor dad kind of thing, right? Yeah.
And of course, I read that book and I want to grow wealth for the better good of my family and all of those things. And real estate's a fantastic way to do that. When I was a CPA, I would do all the wealthy people's returns, including realtors, and seeing how they grow their portfolio in real estate. And I was,
how can I do that?
Yeah. So I found my passion for this, and the business has exploded. There's plenty of people that get into real estate and they're not hustling, and maybe because they're not that passionate about what they do. And it shows.
Yeah.
But I think that the passion also comes from hard work.
Yeah.
You might not really know that you're that passionate about something until you dive in deeper to figure out there's these different things that I can make a big difference in this industry.
That's right.
And you find your passion through hard work.
That's right. Hey, remember when I was telling you about the running thing? I was like, I think I got second place and I got a ribbon. I was like, a ribbon? I'm going to get another ribbon, right? So next race I go, I'm going to get a blue ribbon, right? So yeah, you don't realize what you really, maybe even what we talk about with our kids and getting them into sports. Sometimes it'll click and then they start realizing, yeah, this is my passion. This is what I really want to do. So I think it relates to all the things that we just got through talking about, and it is exactly that. And what you're saying with your career is like when you start diving deep into it, you start realizing, oh shit, this is my passion. This is cool, right?
Thanks so much for watching Reno Right Now. And if you're looking for any more content in the Reno, Nevada market, follow us, hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you're looking for anything residential, commercial, my name's Christian Reviglio. I'm a realtor and a tax CPA, and I'm here to set you on your path to financial freedom and wealth abundance. So Mark, what makes Reno so special?
So many things make Reno special, right? We talked about community, right? Like how giving people are to, how do I say this? Giving back, giving. Reno is special because of the people that started and have lived here for the last 100 years and how they've passed on generation to generation on how this city was built. You know the people I'm talking about, the Reviglios. Talk about the Dan Luce families, the DeMontes, all of these things that we hear about. And like I said, what do we owe the elderly?
Traditions.
That's right. The traditions. That's what makes Reno great. But also what we talk about currently is how and what is happening now to make people want to come and live in Reno, Nevada, or stay in Reno, Nevada. We want all of our University of Nevada students who graduate, we all want them to stay here, right? Professionally, build the community, those kind of things. And I think it's really starting to happen. I really think that people look at our weather, right? Our weather's amazing.
The 4 seasons.
The 4 seasons, and maybe some seasons last longer or not long enough.
And biking, right?
Yes, it's everything. It's the outdoors.
The hub coffee shop.
That's right. Oh,
the hub.
The hub. That's right. We are the hub. That's right. And and we see, and what has been happening, if you talk about Reno right now, you see all the new things that are happening. And it's not because we want to have overgrowth in Reno, Nevada. No, we have things for all groups and types of people and their likes and dislikes. Look at the things that has happened in Midtown since 2009. It's been a really eclectic, fun, great place for people to gather and people to eat. And the culinary experiences that are happening in Reno, Nevada right now are astronomical. And new places that are opening, from Ranch Hera to even our Meadow Creek, which is the ice arena down south, the ice arena right across from there.
It's incredible.
So again, we're building communities, but we're not building communities like, I don't know, I'd like to say is like, not like Las Vegas, where it's just kind of cookie cutter. Mm-hmm. I think we still have some viable and some cool trends that are happening in Reno, Nevada to make Reno great. And it's up to us. It's up to you guys, right, to keep this thing going at Reno, Nevada, because Reno, Nevada is a great place to live and to raise your children, right?
Well, and I think when you say tradition, we are, like you compared us to Las Vegas, cookie cutter and things like that. Las Vegas has lots of people that were not born and raised there.
That's right. That's exactly it.
And Reno, you and I,
born and raised here.
That's
right.
And what we have here, we know how special it is.
That's right. That's exactly it. Even if we have left and moved someplace else, then you realize even more how special Reno, Nevada is. Right. So, yeah, we're growing. I think we're growing in the right pace. And it's giving people opportunity to be entrepreneurs as well. Giving reasons and those kind of things.
Tell us more about that.
Well, I think just like in the food and beverage arena, right? And I mean, look at all the businesses that have come here just because we have a great state to move Tesla, to move all these other, all these things here, right? I mean, the trick.
No income tax,
things like that. I mean, that's great. Huge. I mean, and that's huge when you're selling a home or your people are deciding to come here. Just like my wife recruits for certain companies here, and now back, let's say 10 years ago, they're like, yeah, the wives would be like, they live in the city, and the men, the husbands are like, oh yeah, that place is great. You have Lake Tahoe. Oh, we have golf. I mean, you have skiing.
Sure.
We have all these things, but then the wife is like, so where do I eat? Where do I go eat? Is any place good? Where do I go shopping? Right? Those kind of things. Well, that's what I'm saying. Reno is now, because it is changing for those reasons. And I think that, and we still have more work to do. Right? We always do, right? We can't settle. But I think those are the things that are attracting people to move to Reno, Nevada. And again, you cannot be. And people I just talked to a guy from Brazil just before we started this, and he was sitting right here at the hub. And I wanted to know what he was about. And I was like, I love Reno, Nevada. He's from Brazil. I'm like, I don't know. I think maybe where he lives right on the beach. I mean, I'm like thinking, well, I think I'd rather be at the beach. No, Reno, Nevada is pretty cool. Right. So those are the things that I hear, and some of the things that when I talk to our customers and the new customers that have moved, doesn't matter from California, from Texas to Washington State, wherever, that have moved here, they really realize how special this place is.
Well, and I think it's neat that you touched on the entrepreneurial opportunities.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, you've got Tesla, you got Switch, right? Those big companies that have come into town, Google, and they're taking over Trick, Tahoe Regional Industrial Center. Yeah. And the thing about that is, what other small businesses is that spurring, or is it creating an environment that?
Yes, it does, because people want coffee, people want Mexican restaurants, people want China, pho restaurants, they want Thai, they want all these things, and so it helps us be creative, and then people can start opening up their own businesses if they're passionate about it and they do it the right way.
And I think when you say creative, that's just it, right?
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, you can be creative.
Yeah,
that's what I love so much about what I do, is I can be I could be creative. I could try new things, and nobody's there to say you can't do that.
That's right.
And so Reno Right Now is a great place to start a business.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's great. It's the now. I mean, even with the economy the way it is like there's always opportunity. Always opportunity, yes.
So Mark, this has been fantastic. I loved our conversation.
Thanks.
And tell our listeners a little bit about how they can get a cup of Hub coffee, like, your locations, that type of thing. And a little bit about how they can get in touch with you. Give us a little bit of that info.
Well, like all businesses, right? We rely a lot on social media. So we're at Hub Coffee Roasters. You can follow us on that. We are on Facebook as well. Look, our online it's typical. It's www.hubcoffeeroasters.com. That explains a lot about from our farms in Colombia and how we source our coffee, what we do and why. It gives full explanations of even some of the things that you and I were talking about, and you can learn a little bit.
Your website is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. And we can learn more about the Hub Coffee Roasters that way. But also you can buy coffee online. Right. And it tells you all of our locations. And I think this is our prized location here on Riverside Drive because we're right next to the river and, it's a beautiful spot. And I'm so glad we got to do it here, which is really nice. And but yeah, there's at 727 Riverside Drive. But we're also down south of town to, make sure those people get their hub fixed down south of town that live down south. And that's really basically at the bottom of Eric Creek Drive on Wedge Parkway, right where the new ice arena is. So we call that our Meadow Creek store, and that's 15425 Wedge Parkway. Very easy to find because we have some other great store, or I should say, businesses that are in that same little complex. We got the cheese board.
It's a great place to have a meeting. It's really centrally located. Tons of parking.
Yes.
Over there.
And in Reno, Nevada, people want parking, baby.
They want parking.
Yeah, they want parking.
So yeah, it's a great place to have a business meeting or whatever.
No, thank you. I appreciate it because I know you're there a lot.
Yeah.
But the other locations, our newest location, for those people that have lived here for a long time, like us, it's the old Park Lane Mall. And it's called the Reno Experience District. So it's 2020 Red Drive. So basically the old Park Lane Mall movie theater, Century Theater's right there, which has been renovated inside and out. It looks great. Well, we basically are right in that little complex right there. I mean, it's not little, but it's a big complex. And that location, you guys, you have to come and check it out. We have an upstairs, we have a downstairs, we have a place for meetings. We have events there twice a week. But we also do a thing, just talking about community. I partner with this DJ group called Desert Beats, and we call it Coffee and Beats. So if you follow our Instagram, you'll see when these, let's just say, midday on a Sunday dance parties are, and they have become very, very popular. And so, besides the fact of just being scientific and talking about coffee and serving the best coffee, I think it's important that, on the community side too, is have a little fun. Come out, come and dance. We just had one.
Every Sunday?
The last Sunday of every month.
Okay.
But we happen to have this last one, which is today, Tuesday. So Sunday, we had it here at Riverside outside. It was a lot of fun. And the reason why we did it at that time, that date, is because it was you and our graduation.
Right.
And so a lot of people bring their parents, and their parents are here hopefully to see their kids graduate, and they bring them to their favorite coffee place. There were parents out here. I met some from like Martinez, California. This is great. I know why my son loves this place. And I go, well, this is the first time we've had this, but I know why he loves this place because it's a beautiful spot and he can get great coffee. And I just had a great conversation with them. So,
that's awesome.
But anyway, so that's a little bit about our company and how you could get information on that. I mean, obviously, everybody uses their phones for everything to Google and see where the hub locations are, and they can do that as well. But
and so if they want to buy online, they just go straight to your website?
Yes, they just go straight to the website. Yeah, and it gives a lot more information about things that are happening and, why you should buy that coffee. And
if you're in a business that wants or that gifts clients things, this is a premium product right here. The packaging is so beautiful. And just you could actually wrap this
Yeah,
in,
I
in
know.
a box,
I know.
right? What other
So
coffee is in
that's
a
right.
box like
That's
this?
right.
So it's a fantastic gift.
that's that really structured part of me too, is like bags are great, but then they look messy when people squeeze them and do that kind of thing. So when you go to Whole Foods or you go to Sprouts and you see our coffee there, when they're up next to everybody else and they're standing like that, looking really nice, I love that.
Well,
It looks great.
So you could get this at Whole Foods.
Yes, you get Whole Foods, Sprouts. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Rayleigh's.
No.
Okay.
Getting into the grocery game is really tough.
Okay.
Really tough. But I really have a great relationship with Whole Foods, and we're in all of the Sprouts all over Nevada.
Okay.
Which was really nice.
Can you get it on Amazon?
We're working on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
but
cool.
again, now you got to be creative and try to what makes you different than all the other coffee
sure.
places that are on Amazon. But
For sure.
anyway, yeah, I would love this. So little touch here. We have the Mackey School of Mines. You brought it up earlier. So we have our good is gold philosophy. But if you see all the gold, hub means Nevada. We sing that song. We all who everyone that's grown up here, we used to sing home means Nevada, home means the hills.
Right.
So hub means Nevada.
Hub means Nevada.
That's right. And then you have Nevada blue.
Yep.
You got Western Nevada supply blue.
I love it.
So try to bring all those colors together also. There has some significance to something. And that's also one of those things for entrepreneurs. And when they're doing something, what's the meaning, right? And if you're just telling the meaning of like gold, I guess I could have silver on too, just like we're silver and blue.
Right.
But I think I have a lot of things here that capture Nevada.
What it means to be Nevadan.
That's right.
And yeah, this is a fantastic gift. What I love about it is talking about how relationships matter and all of that on the back, and then the touch about Nevada. Definitely a gift I'm going to give more to each one of my clients.
Thank you.
And I think that it definitely will create that
Yes.
unique experience for the client. So
Appreciate that.
very good.
Thank you.
Well, now what should I say? Just wrap it up. You could edit that out.
No, I think you should keep it there.
Anyhow, I thank you so much. And for all you guys listening, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more amazing content from amazing people doing great things in Reno, Nevada. Thanks so much, Mark.
Awesome.